Alright guys, this is the last shave of Austere August. And so the Chiseled Face Midnight Stag in the soap, splash, and fragrance are going to go bye-bye for a little while. I love it. I'm glad I spent a month with it. Don't regret that at all. But I have a bunch of other fun soaps to enjoy. The Nacet is going to be at 575 today. I didn't quite get around to putting a little dot there for the 74th shave, so the card is off by one. Brush is the one as usual for this month, B13 knot from Declaration Grooming. Holds a ton of water here, 28 millimeter is the size. The handle, Dogwood Handcrafts. These nice bright lights may give you a better look at the clear nature of that handle there, maybe. And Briar Brushworks and Dogwood Handcrafts both worked on the handle. Finest Badger. 68 gap on the timeless open comb stainless steel razor. Show you the Nacet. Hopefully you can see its identifying marks. The Splash Chiseled Face Midnight Stag, and the cologne fragrance for that as well. We are ready to go with getting my face wet. I can't really think of anything special to do today in terms of changing the process or doing some kind of experimentation, so let's just end the month with a nice bowl lather. Face. It holds a ton of water. It's very heavy. You can just feel it when you're holding this little short handle. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 15 swirls. Go with that. I did learn a few things during the month. Unfortunately, they were kind of miscellaneous random things that I didn't really bother to note. Last Austere August, I think I pretty much used the slurry lather the whole time, maybe. And I was refining that. What I learned was I was really glad that I chose this Badger. I mean, I love the boars so much. I love watching them change, and when you have a big collection like I do, they change very slowly when you rotate to different brushes. And using one for a whole month is a great way to just put some good miles on it. Just going to start a trickle. Let some water get in there just like I did the other day. I did learn that, at least with this base, coming at it at water with water slowly versus quick, not really too much of a difference. I did learn that when this one has a kind of a high satin, almost a sheen, then that can be an indicator that it's really well hydrated, and you don't want to take it too much farther than that. So in that sense, it's a nice visual tip, shortcut to let you know when to stop. And let's get on with it. I did not pre-wash my face with anything, and so I'm going to use a little bit extra suds from the bowl to step in and help. All kinds of little helpers on my shirt today. All right, Nacet for the 575th time. Let us do it again. A little quick rinse. Really just a splash of water on my face, not really a rinse. I guess it gets rid of some of the, heavier stubble, but it leaves behind plenty of moisture, of course, and then it leaves behind a little bit of the previous lather too, which is nice. Leave behind some of that slickness. I can't wait to use the soap base that doesn't require me to, that maintains a little bit more creaminess when it gets this hydrated. And so therefore it's less messy. When I first did Austere August, I think it was 2017, it was with this Nacet blade. My intention, this is just trivia, my intention was to use Fine Accoutrements Classic Puck. At the time it wasn't a Classic Puck because there was they didn't discontinue. There was no soft formulation yet. They would later go on to add a crope to their lineup. So it was just the fine puck. And wonderful performance from that, just top notch. And it was pretty inexpensive. So, and I really liked several of the different scents that he offered. But kind of like I am right now, I wasn't at home. I was on a vacation and I forgot to look ahead and realize that in the middle of my vacation, August the 1st started. And so I left. I had not brought my fine classic puck with me on my trip. And here I was about to start Austere August. Wasn't really a prize or anything because it wasn't going to be the, I don't know if they were doing the Midnight Stag Challenge at that point. Maybe 2018 was the first time that happened. But I wanted to be a part of it. And I didn't want to wait and start later. And so I tried to think of, what could I do? And there aren't really any big stores around here that have good soaps. There are a few wet shaving brick and mortar stores out there that have quality products. Just very few. Maggard Razors, and Pastures, and I think Mers Apothecary up in Chicago, something like that. They've got some good shave gear, but very few other places do. Of course, Sterling is in Arkansas. Of course, they're going to have their stuff. You can tour and get it. But I'm in none of those places. And so what I had to do was search around, see what kind of options there were. I think I did bring some shaving gear with me, but it wasn't a soap that I wanted to use all month. I kind of wanted to bring some kind of education to the world if I could. And so what I did was, in a nearby grocery store a few miles down the road, they still had Williams mug soap. And so I went and got a puck of Williams mug. That, I believe, was my first time using it, I think. But it may not have been. I may have tried it out, but so anyway, I thought, hey, let's learn something about Williams mug, and I believe that was the only time I used that for Austere August. Let's learn about Williams mug. Can I figure out the secret to how to make a good lather from it? And I tried so many different things. At the time, I had not yet put together the slurry method, and so I couldn't use that. I didn't know to use that. And I put forth a lot of, so I couldn't use fine like I wanted to. I wanted to show that to the world because a lot of people knew about it, but it just, it was such a high quality product that I think in terms of performance, I think the fine classic pucks really kind of beat most artisan soaps out there. Unless your high value is on those moisturizing ingredients, then that's a different story. It doesn't have those, but that's not my priority. So instead, I brought Williams to Austere August. I had the Blackland Dart with the Nacet, and I used it for a month. I learned how to make the Dart work for me. It really sits a little bit more on an aggressive nature than I personally like. But I learned how, that's one of the few razors that I will actually use with a steep blade angle because it lets me control and mitigate the harshness of the razor. Man, Shane at Blackland really likes aggressive razors. That Blackbird, boy, that one treats me rough. It's aggressive for me. And there we go. Let's get a good rinse now. And there we go. I took the break to get a good rinse. Rinse out my brush as well. Clean out my bowl. I did end up with, I could have squeezed out a couple of passes more of lather from the brush especially, but the bowl was pretty much done. So in terms of being a good user of soap, in terms of conservation, it was a perfect amount of lather. And even in a shave level, I didn't find it lacking in any way. So I hit it just right in terms of the loading time with 15 or 14 swirls, something like that. And so now, do the cologne in just a second. I like to take that cap off before I put on the splash because this stuff makes my hands a little slippery. Very good. What will I do tomorrow? I've got some samples. I've got, I think, Declaration Grooming Admiral, which is a favorite of mine, on hand. Now time for the cologne. It'll be good to get on Reddit and look at the last day of postings for the Austere August challenge. It'll say, if you ever want to go, just go to reddit.com/r/wet shaving. And I like to sort by new. And that way you don't just get the top posts. Sort by new so that you get the daily posts. Like we have threads for questions. And so we don't use the main thread for just little normal questions. We have a daily post for that, and it keeps it pretty clean. I didn't like it starting out, but I really like it now. Then there'll be an Austere August SOTD, Shave of the Day thread. Then there'll be a normal SOTD thread for people who are just wanting to post their Shave of the Day in a non-Austere August context, the regular version of the Shave of the Day. After August, of course, that will disappear. The Austere August Shave of the Day thread no longer will automatically pop up. It'll just be the daily questions and the Shave of the Day, the regular Shave of the Day. So you can pop up over there, look for Austere August, August 31st. You'll see the last day. And those people who have been doing the Raw Hogging Challenge, which is one of the ones that I like to follow, they'll have a photo album available of their brush from start to end. I hope that they put dry photos of their boar brushes, because like right now, this is damp because I just got finished with the shave. A boar brush is no different. It's damp. And so the little split tips and stuff tend to clump, and they're not as noticeable. So you can't really see the maturity and the nature, the vast amount of split tips that may have built up over the month or developed over the month until you actually see it the next day dry. And then those will separate and you'll be able to see them. But at any rate, with the boar brushes, you can see them start to open up as you progress through the photo albums that guys have put together. And now they have it may not be fully broken in. Some boars take a while to fully break in, but most people have a comfortable boar brush by the end of the month, no problem. I did talk to a couple of fellas who had purchased the unbleached knots from Zenith. Whether I'll do that someday or not is a question. I probably will, because I'm a huge fan of the bleached knots from Zenith. It might be a prime candidate to use the hairdryer to accelerate the tip splitting process. Excuse me, got some hiccups. But a friend who was using it said that even by the end of the month, he didn't know if it was going to be, comfy. and so that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how those unbleached knots will go. I'll be looking to maybe try to find those guys in a few months, give them some more uses on that, so we can see when those become comfy and soft. I definitely have heard people online say that they really prefer those unbleached knots. But whether that person was somebody, you got a couple different people. Maybe there's somebody who just likes really scrubby, scratchy brushes. And a person like me does not want to listen to their advice because we're opposites in priority. And there's the other kind of person that's kind of like me, that if they're going to say a brush is comfy and awesome, it's probably because they've used it a bunch of times to get it that way, to get those tips to split, to get the knot to open up, to hold water and lather and all that stuff. So there we go. I like to read a lot of the posts about any of the summation posts about what guys have learned with some guys with the different challenges like straight razor and some different, some people use the mammoth stuff all month long. Of course, they didn't really learn anything, did they? Because mammoth is awesome and we already knew that starting off. Give the razor a good clean here. This is the one piece of the gear, except maybe the lather bowl, that you're going to see in the next shave as well, because we're going to march on. We've just got 25 more shaves now before we hit 600. That's just nuts. All right, well, it's time for me to clear down. I've shown you guys, told you guys all that I can think of. Goodbye, Austere August. Again, it was a wonderful experience. This is my first one where I haven't used a bore for the reasons I've told you about, and I have told you all month that I was super happy to just enjoy this soft badger. I like the way it flexes and moves, and it's just so plush and comfortable. I have just thoroughly enjoyed that decision to use that guy all month, and who knows, maybe if I can use a bore more during the year, every month, every Austere August, maybe I'll use a yummy, delicious badger like that. Well, there we go, folks. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Thank you for joining me this August, and we'll see what the next round brings in terms of soaps and other products. Take care now. Good night.